Hello, everyone out there in podcast world. Hope you're having a great day. You're listening to or watching the Service Business Mastery podcast. I'm here sitting virtually next to my co-host, Joshua Crouch. I'm Tersh Blissett, the host of Service Business Mastery
Nobody
podcast.
forgot who you are, buddy. You're popular.
Whatever. So we have some great friends of ours on the show today, and I'm super excited. We've had Evan's been on the show, but Thaddeus has not been on the show, and we're going to talk. So we're going to start off with a little bit of paper marketing, branding, magazine branding. But honestly, this conversation is liable to go in any direction. And it's going to be a good one. So I'm honored to be the pregame for Thaddeus and Evan's podcast. They record every Wednesday afternoon. And there's it's very relaxed, and I mean, it's a lot like ours, honestly. And they talk a lot of business and marketing side of things. They have a marketing agency, and I ask them questions all the time, and they're super helpful. But I'm super excited. Josh, you got anything to add to that?
No, I mean, Evan and Thaddeus started their marketing agency about the same time I did. We're literally like very closely related when it comes to that. We're in a coaching group together and stuff. So I've gotten to know these guys really well. They're great guys. And I mean, hell, they're from Canada. Who doesn't like them Canadians up there?
Right. That's right. That's right. Cool, man. Well, I'm excited to get started with the show.
Are you looking for valuable business advice to reach that 7-figure revenue mark? Do you want actionable tips to properly navigate through every business challenge you encounter along the way? Let Tersh Blissett and Josh Crouch be your guide in getting you to the top here at Service Business Mastery. Tune in as they sit down with world-renowned authors in business, leadership, and personal growth who share valuable insights about management, marketing, pricing, human resources, and so much more. Let their nuggets of wisdom gold guide you in owning a thriving, profitable, and ever-growing business. Here are your hosts, Tersh and Josh.
What's up, guys? How are y'all today?
Fantastic. Even better after seeing that video. That was sharp.
Yeah, we're always trying to make it just a little better, right? So y'all got snow this week, I saw.
Yeah.
Was that both of you, or was that just by you, Thaddeus?
No, we got it too. Ours melted though. His wife's still outside shoveling while he's doing the podcast. So
Cheers to her. So
she better not be.
No, she actually was outside shoveling this morning, and I'm looking outside, and
were you cheering her on?
Yeah, I was knocking from the window. See, our dog likes the shovel though. So like our dog will literally whine if you're outside shoveling snow, and she doesn't come out there with you. Just wants to chase the snow.
Mine likes to chase a rake. So when I rake leaves,
there you go.
So little weird tip. But so let's talk marketing, guys. So we've obviously you and you. I know we talk offline or online, but offline quite a bit. And we're in a coaching group and stuff like that together. So it's just, which is cool because we both about 2 years or so, and we've been able to kind of, help each other out and just make sure we're, kind of get through the same growing pains.
Hey, Josh,
as you go. Yeah.
Just in case you were wondering, there's a microphone right in front of you.
Is it too loud?
No, you keep smacking it. You just hit it.
I'm smacking the table.
Oh, geez, Louise. Man, these amateurs.
Should I just go like this?
These amateurs around here. One thing I forgot to mention.
Mic a little bit closer to you,
right. Guys. No, I didn't mention this earlier, but y'all's podcast. You have a podcast, and y'all release every Wednesday. Did I say that earlier? Because I was thinking about it. Okay.
I thought I heard it anyways.
Well, good. Because y'all have a podcast. And what's the name of y'all's podcast for anybody that's listening?
HVAC Success Secrets Revealed.
Or HVAC, depending on how you want to phrase it.
HVAC.
Yeah. And
right, cool.
These guys, they stream live. YouTube, Facebook, some other places. I think you guys can find it through your website too, right?
Yep. Yeah, we put it on the website after we're done. So onpurposemedia.ca, and you can find HVAC Revealed. on there. You can see the YouTube links. We do it on YouTube, on LinkedIn, in our Facebook group, on our Facebook page, on both of our profiles. We go everywhere.
That's what's up. You got TikTok?
TikTok, we do our snippets on TikTok. We don't do the actual podcast. I think you're limited to 10-minute long videos on TikTok. So we've been putting
it's 3.
No, they
bumped it up.
Yeah, there's 10 minutes now. So I know our team came back with us and said you can do up to 10 minutes. And then I was in there today setting up a TikTok ads account and saw that you can do up to 10-minute videos now there.
That's wild, dude. Yeah, we just set up our TikTok account. And so if anybody's listening to this, watching this, and you're on TikTok, make sure you go follow us, Service Business Mastery. And then what's your TikTok?
OnPurpose Media.
OnPurpose Media. So go follow these guys too.
I had to download TikTok today.
Oh, how'd that make you feel?
Old.
He's old. Let me tell you an old man story about Joshua. He texted me, right? And he's like, what was I doing? I can't remember what I was doing, but I wasn't sitting in my office, and we have our new VA, and she was doing something, and he was like, can you respond to her? I'm headed to basketball or something like that. I'm like, oh, okay, you're watching your kids basketball. He was like, no, we have a basketball tournament. I'm playing in a basketball tournament tonight. I was like, a tournament tonight? And this is like Monday, 3 days ago. And he's like, yeah, we have a tournament. I'm like, you got to explain this to me around like it's going to be a week-long thing. He's like, no, we're going to play. It's three versus 3. And then, I'm like, you're going to play all night long. You ain't going to be worth the crap tomorrow. And he comes in there and he's like, oh, it's an old man's league. And then I'll let Josh finish the rest of the story.
Yeah. So we lost our first game. And then we played these kids that maybe I thought were like 23, 24. I can't judge age anymore once you get to a certain age. And
once you start having gray hair in your beard.
We lost that game by 1. It was actually really close. And then we finished our third game. We had to play right after that. We won that one. But then I'm sitting there watching that same team the second team we lost to. And some guys here, he's like, oh yeah, that's my kid. And I'm like, oh, he doesn't look much older than I am. I'm like, how old's your kid? 18. The other kids are 19. I'm like, oh.
So much for it being an old man's tournament.
I'm like, shit, they're like half my age. And then the one kid's trying to walk on at like a Division I school up north here in Wisconsin. I'm like, oh, that's the kid I had to guard.
Wow.
I did not sleep well. My legs were screaming at me.
I was about to say, how were your legs the next day?
Well, so here's the thing. We're packing up the house, right? Because we're getting ready to move. Well, the Advil is packed away. So I had no Advil. I had no pain relief. I was in pain, man. So I had to, the next day, first thing I got up, I went to the gas station. I'm like, I'm packing up some Advil. So I have some, but
old age problems. Where's the Advil, right?
Yeah. I said, honey, why did you pack this? You know, I need this after basketball.
I have to take 2 of these every night so I can wake up the next morning.
After any physical activity.
I'm reading Tony Robbin's new book called Life Force, and there's some good secrets in there. So I highly recommend it.
What good secrets to like? Yeah, what are you talking about?
Pain relief, longevity, living another healthy 20 years, kind of thing. It's good stuff.
Okay.
So how do you relieve pain? People might say CBD oil.
No, there's a ton of different secrets in there. Ogoscu is one method that is quite effective. So this guy, he was a Marine, comes back from serving overseas. He's in a ton of pain, and they tell him that they can't treat him. There's nothing that they can do. Him being a Marine, having that mindset, decides, yes, there's something I can do. Decides to create his own methodology, and it's phenomenal for pain relief. And it's like simple exercises that literally anyone could do. And it's like corrected humpback kind of posture issues. And it's corrected that. So it's phenomenal. I highly suggest you check it out.
That's cool. Do they have the audio version or just a book?
Yeah, I bought it on Audible. It's 22 hours on Audible.
Wow.
Whoa.
Yeah,
it's a
book. Beast of a book.
That's one that I get my $14 credit. I have to judge it because I get a credit every month by my $14.
Yeah.
And so if it's less than $14, I just buy it.
Right.
And I don't use my credit. And if it's like $75, which is probably what this book is, I'm like, oh yeah, I'll use my $14 credit for that one.
Totally.
Yeah.
If you bought the actual book, like it would be a doorstop. Like it's it's a beast.
Hey guys, Jim's saying that you guys don't know how to wear your hats.
Yeah.
I played baseball as a kid, right? And my coach, when I was like, I don't know, 11 or 12, comes up to me, and this is when Griffey was still like hot shit, right? So of course I'm wearing my hat backwards, looking all cool. At least I thought I was. And he comes up to me and he says, "Listen, there's only two types of people that wear their hat backwards: catchers and cocksuckers. And I don't see you with equipment on."
Well, it's in the dugout. There you go, put it on.
So there you go.
Oh, that's
Oh, that's
terrible. That's terrible.
That's good.
Cassie mentions that she's hanging out with y'all here in shortly.
Yeah, I can't wait. I'm
gonna be
very
fun.
excited for that.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Their whole team's awesome, really.
There's some
they got some
fireballs in Oklahoma. And there's some really talented.
It's like a hotbed right now, especially on the social side, stuff like that. Like Oklahoma, Texas. Those areas are hot. And there's some power ladies doing some like awesome
epic
stuff.
shit. Yeah,
amazing shit.
So it's really cool to see. But so
let's talk branding. Like
I was going to say, let's talk branding because you guys
that's kind of where
we're
starting out at here. And then one of you guys have a background in is it magazine advertising?
We actually we both do. Yeah. So it's actually
that's where you guys met, right?
We actually met selling Cutco knives back in I don't know, 2009.
Back when we were the age of the kids that beat Josh.
Yes. There you go. So we've known each other for quite some time, but I got my start in advertising in print, in magazines, specifically in high-end community-specific magazines. In fact, it was a U.S. company, and when it came to Canada, I was the fourth person ever to launch a magazine, the first person ever in Western Canada, and now, I mean, they probably have 100, I don't even know the number. I mean, obviously left there a few years ago, hundreds of magazines throughout North America. So it's just phenomenal to see that growth, right? I grew up on the ranch, right? So, but the thing is like branding, and I classify that as mass media in magazines, in print, and radio, or all those mass media branding type plays. So, so I'm still laughing at that. Important when I grew up on the ranch. I would actually disagree with that statement, that I think it is super important as a business. You know, we were actually chatting with
I think they're talking about branding cows.
Branding cattle. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I missed that joke.
That's all right. That's okay. I can't.
Small town Alberta guy misses the branding cattle joke.
I've branded cattle before, so I should have picked up on that.
Have you ever done the thing like Mike Rowe where he did the sheep castrating the sheep?
No, I haven't done that.
You've heard this, right? It's either sheep or goats. They castrate them by taking and putting their balls inside their mouth, biting down and pulling it off.
Oh,
you've never heard the story from Mike Rowe?
No.
Oh, you got.
It's not a story I want to hear, man.
You have to go listen. It's part of the Dirty Jobs series that he was doing, and they're talking about castrating, and they're like, "Oh yeah, this is how you do it," and he was like, "No, you're joking, right? You only put like a rubber band around it and let it fall." Like, yeah, but then they're in pain for weeks. This is like instant. They're in pain, but then it's gone. I was like, but there's got to be something else besides that. Like you can like a contraption of some sort to do the deed.
If somebody's looking for an invention to make, you got your idea right there.
Well, there you go. Maybe there is. They just enjoy doing it that way. I don't know. We're going down a wrong path here.
My testicles are sore just thinking about that.
So I assume you didn't do that on the ranch.
We snap. I wasn't the one who did it. I've watched them put the elastic band around the nuts on a cow before, and they buck wild inside the chute. Like it's yeah.
It looks painful.
It looks painful. And then they go flying out after. But so anyways, back to the other type of branding. So that's where we got our start was branding. And I still think there's a place in today. I know when everybody goes to the digital marketing realm and like, look, Evan and I have a digital marketing company. Josh, you have a digital marketing company. And Tersh has the HVAC company. I still think there's a very important place because you think about what do people see first, and what do people recognize or remember first? Well, it's your company name and your brand, and also but brand also goes further than just what you see on billboards and radio and TV and print. It also goes involved in, okay, well, what are your customers' first impressions when you show up at the house? Do you have a vehicle that doesn't look like a Chuck in a truck? And you could be a one-man band, and that's completely fine. There's a lot of people that need that, but have something that looks a little bit more professional. When you show up to the door,
perception is reality,
right? Perception is reality, but that's also part of the brand of your company too.
Yeah.
Like, you show up with an untucked shirt that's wrinkled as fuck with grease stains all over it.
Can I add to your point? So I recently had an electrician over here, because when I was moving my office down here from where I had an office, we needed some extra lights down in the basement. So we hired an electrician, and it was a local guy, and didn't have, literally showed up in a pickup truck with no marking, no branded shirt, nothing. He literally called us like on his way, be like, we didn't know what day he was coming. He called us on the way. Hey, is it okay if I come today? Yeah, I'm home. Like, go ahead, I guess. And then, he had to do like a ceiling fan and something else. And so when he had to come back, he had to order materials. Didn't know when he was coming. I'm like, hey, is the electrician coming? I kind of need these lights downstairs. And again, literally like the night before, like 7:00. Hey, is it okay if I come in the morning tomorrow? And and then he left. He put he drilled the holes for the lights and everything else. Didn't vacuum up the floor. Just, you get what you pay for a lot of times when people don't care about their appearance.
Mm-hmm.
And it goes back to even caring about your appearance and your personal life. It doesn't mean you have to like get all dolled up and dressed up for the day, but care about how you carry yourself, care about your well-being. It shows, because it shows in your work ethic. It shows in so many other facets of your life. But it was a perfect example. I literally, as I tell other contractors this, and you guys have these same conversations, I'm like, yeah, it's exactly what you get when you hire someone who their stuff's falling out of their truck. There's no branding. They don't have a system or CRM
what happens
system.
when you hire someone who is like above, par, or the perception is they have the good brand and everything else, but then the technician shows up and they're got crap all over the dashboard. They open the door and the drinks roll out. That's
they roll out with it too.
Yeah.
This is my old boss. He's giving me shit because he knows I love Under Armour.
he's wearing Under Armour now currently.
Yep.
He's always in Under Armour.
I'm sure the t-shirt underneath of that has Under Armour too. So
I mean, to me, branding is reputation. And when you've got a solid brand in terms of like just the logo itself, that's great. You're going to stand out and you're going to get attention, but then the reputation is going to catch up and it's not going to back up what the brand says. And the two go hand in hand. And that really comes back to culture. And this is something I know we're going to talk about later today with Cassie and what she's built at her organization. But like that culture and how you take care of your employees, that's everything when it comes in par to matching the brand that you've tried to build for yourself.
That's a great conversation that we had with Cassie when she was on the show. And whenever I was asking her about it, like that's the response that she kept giving. And it's like, your brand is great. Their brand, like logo, when I say brand, I'm implying the logo and the van wraps and truck wraps and stuff. Right. It all looks amazing. Yep. But then she kept saying like, it's how everybody performs and interacts with each other every day and how the client perceives us. That's the brand that's your legit brand.
Yep.
Yeah. That's your brand message, your brand promise.
It all goes hand in hand.
Absolutely. You can't have one without the other because it's just going to provide
or what's going to happen.
People are going to see
or what's going if somebody wants to price themselves like they're the high-end plumber, HVAC company, whatever, but they don't have everything else that goes along with it. That's when you start getting those bad reviews and things don't match.
Yep.
And people can smell BS a mile away. Like they can see like, okay, we're just putting lipstick on a pig over here type of thing versus this company really has it together. Every time I hire them, they got booties. They call me ahead of time. I get notifications, booking alerts, all this stuff that comes along with it. And every single time they take the same process. They're thorough. They follow a checklist, et cetera, et cetera. And that's really where I mean, that's where we're all trying to get, at least if you really care about your business.
100%.
Agreed. And look, here's the other part of it. When you have a great brand from the get-go, like your logo in that, along with the reputation that goes involved with it, your digital marketing actually becomes more effective, because now people know it or feel comfortable with it. Even if they don't necessarily recognize it, if they go to Google and they search, AC repair near me, and you've got a decent online presence, or you have a Google ad, or you have a Facebook ad going out, they may not recognize you from some of your mass media efforts, or your branding, if you want to call it that. But when they get there, there's familiarity with it. And that's what really helps that too, because it helps your conversion component of things. When they get to the website, even they're like, oh man, I remember these colors from somewhere, or I remember this logo from somewhere. If they're a new customer, obviously repeat business makes a world of difference, because they remember how you treated them. How did you make them feel when you were over there? And if you made them feel like you were a sleazeball, well, guess what? They're not going to call you back.
Yeah.
But if you made them feel like you were a great company who cared about them, amazing. That's what's going to get you your repeat business.
Yeah, and that's why these companies grow so fast. I mean, it's the ones that do grow fast, they have this stuff in place, and it is part of their everyday life.
Yep. So Tersh, I mean, you went through a rebrand.
Yeah,
and
Josh and I were talking about this morning.
Yeah. So like, what for you? What was the reasoning behind it? What was created as a result of it?
So here's my thought process with it. When I purchased the company, and I use that term loosely, when I purchased the company, I didn't like the brand or the logo. I originally wanted to start my own business whenever I became part of this business, and I didn't want to change the name necessarily, because I already had several clients, you know what I mean? And so that was a concern of mine. But then as it was brought to my attention that icebound plumbing wouldn't really make sense when it came to penguins and plumbers, that would be kind of a challenge. And so we swapped over, and knowing that we were going to add more trades to the company, and also, like, we had it was icebound.us. We couldn't get the icebound.com domain. And so that was another thing. And that's petty, I know. But a lot of people would put icebound.com in, and they couldn't get to us. That was a habit that was created. And so we searched and made sure that serviceemperor.com was good. And so we took it and kind of, because we had a couple different names in mind. And that was actually the ultimate deciding factor, was the one that we could get the domain for. And now it was a royal pain, because we had yard signs that said icebound. We had shirts and uniforms and all that stuff, and we had to get new stuff. And I'm the type of person where I don't like throwing away stuff that's still good. So I had a internal conflict with that one for sure. But
yeah, you like to keep all your goodies, your hats and everything else.
Even though I won't wear them, I got
closet.
them all behind me and stuff right there. I mean,
should put it on a wall inside of a frame to remember your humble beginnings of where you came from.
I do have a couple. I've got a couple of them just for that reason. But
so somebody asked, I'm sure your recommendation is the same as ours.
That's Ty Branneman, and he's also the one who had he grew up on the farm, and he didn't castrate that way, which I'm not so sure I believe you, Ty, but we'll just leave it at that. But, no.
So he was asking for a recommendation for logo design. I think we're probably all in agreement here, just because we've seen the work that he's done, and it's super consistent. But if anyone's looking, I would talk to Dan Antonelli at Kick Charge. I'm sure you guys would agree with me. He does primo work. Like,
absolutely. Well, and
it's always great.
The thing with Dan is he's not cheap, right? But when you look at the expense of rebranding later, like going with the cheaper guy up front and then rebranding later after you've got 3 trucks, uniforms, letterhead, website, all this shit, like to do it up front is going to save you a ton of money.
You just have to be prepared to be able to spend the money up front if you have the opportunity to be able to do that. So it's going to separate you, right? It's definitely going to separate you in your marketplace.
Absolutely. So I asked Dan this question. I think it was whenever Evan, you and I were with Dan too.
Yep.
And I want to see your take on this. And like, what happens when you're starting out or you're really small and you're like, I don't have whatever the investment is, call it $5,000, $8,000. I mean, at that point you could call it $100,000 because I don't have that. I don't have $5,000 to spare. Like, what do you say to someone in that situation? Like, they're legit just starting out, they're trying to bootstrap the company.
Why are you getting into business right now?
Yes, I don't disagree with that comment, but you would be so surprised. You probably wouldn't be surprised at how many companies start out because they got fired or they quit and started a business the next day and had no plans on doing it.
Or they see the revenue that the business is making and they're like, well, I can make that too, but they don't understand gross and nets.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I would hope that individual would say, all right, let's plan this out. Like, let's have 6 months worth of costs.
Well, I guess my take on this, and there has been super successful companies in the trades and in every space that maybe their brand doesn't catch your eye to that point, but their service and everything else is world class. Yep. And you can grow an HVAC contracting business if you hustle. I mean, $1 million in a year, 2 years, 3 years. You got to know something about business. I mean, at least you got to be willing to learn, but you don't have to start with some crazy brand. Like, honestly, the most important thing is to make sure you price yourself right. So that way you can do these things later on. That's probably the biggest mistake people make. Oh, I'll just undercut the big guy by $500, $1,000 so I can stay busy. I'll get that job. I'll get that customer. But that customer's not going to replace that furnace again for 15 to 20 to 25 years. So that's one opportunity to make that extra $1,000 you will not have. Yeah. And putting that cash aside cash in hand allows you to fix a lot of problems in your business at some point. Mm-hmm. And I would caution people to, like, if you're at 200, 500,000 in revenue, I make sure you have the cash if you have the cash on hand, do it. If you don't sweat it. Get to $1 million, get to $1.5 million, $2 million, then you can still do it later on. Like, it's okay. You don't have to do it today.
Oh, 100% agree. And like, if you want to bootstrap a company, like there's different ways to bootstrap a company. I mean, heck, we bootstrapped ours when we started and did a lot of the stuff ourselves. We also had a pretty good idea on branding to begin with. So when we came up with we actually went through a color rebrand with our business. We started it with blue and green, and we rebranded to the black and pink and white that you see now. I think if you are going to do it yourself, I mean, there's plenty of resources out there. I mean, go to fiverr.com. You're going to pay, I don't know, 5 people, $20 each to design a logo for you, but just don't do red, white, and blue. And no disrespect to anybody that has red, white, and blue. I know there's a lot of people that have that. It's just a very common color that you see, and get something. I mean, look at examples, do some research, spend an evening looking through different examples of different brands. Just don't copy. Just don't rip off a brand. Absolutely. That is 100% a no-go, because, and look, we see that with Dan when he makes those posts of somebody like, oh, look at this brand. It's almost identical to the other brand, and they're in the same fucking market.
Yeah. They just flipped it around or reversed it. Or
It makes zero sense. And so you can do it. It's just make sure that you, and look, there's enough people out there that are willing to help, that if you, and I mean, maybe take this one with a grain of salt, because you're going to get like a million different answers, because you could post your 4 into one of the groups, and maybe not like one of the big groups that are out there, maybe one of the smaller ones that has some of the owners in there, and see what people also resonate with, and do a poll and do a survey and do a group think, to be able to have some data that you can then go make a decision on yourself.
Yeah. You actually, you reminded me of a situation. I had a plumber in Ontario, actually. And I had somebody else contact me because my name was on the bottom of their website. And I knew it was the company I was working with had been designed by Dan. And then all of a sudden this other guy was like, hey, can you do this work for me or whatever? I took a look at his website and I'm like, wait a minute, hang on. This is like the same, like everything is like the same. I'm like, what is going on here? So I brought it to Dan and the owner's attention, and they did their thing with lawsuit or cease and desist, all that kind of stuff. But people will rip off anything, and it's not worth it. Like it's a shortcut. and you feel like, okay, nobody's going to know he's 30 miles away or 100 miles away or across the country, but just don't do it. It is not
Doesn't
smart.
No.
It will save you headache in the long run by just, if you're going to do it, get it done right.
Yep.
And don't copy. That's the worst thing you can do.
Well, and you also mentioned that other point too, like cash in hand, right? I mean, the majority of businesses fail due to improperly managed cash flow, and you can spin that a million different ways to come up with like underpricing, right? Is one of the biggest ones. So you don't have the cash flow, but if you know that you want to spin a rebrand and hire, like a Dan Antonelli, we'll find out what he costs up front and then squirrel away little bits every single month in order to be able to get to the point to say, okay, now I've got my 10K or however much he costs to be able to do the rebrand before you get into, 3, 4, 5, 6 trucks. Maybe you got 2. And it allows you to be able to build that in, to be able to get some revenue, build in your systems, and then flick the switch even higher once you're at that point.
Well, and that's something that we had Peter and Alicia Green from Go Green Plumbing and Heating and Air Conditioning out of Pennsylvania, I think they're in.
North Carolina, I think.
North Carolina. Anyways, he runs a great Facebook group as well. And the one thing that he said was, when you're doing your pricing, you need to price for the business that you're becoming, not the business that you are today.
Yep,
right.
absolutely.
And forecasting out, what size of business do you want to run? Do you want to have your own shop when you don't have a shop yet? Do you want to have CSRs and dispatchers and all of this in your office? Well, you need to price as if you do have that now, so that you can get that and build up to that. So
that's the hardest transition I see.
Right.
It is,
especially when we talk to people that are like in that 500,000 to $1 million mark.
Yep.
They don't have the extra cash to hire, and they're constantly stressed, or they're working 75 hours a week trying to just make things work. And personally, they're making good hire because they don't have enough that they can give somebody else, so that way they can take this load off their plate, or they can hire an answering service so they're not answering the phone at 2 a.m. Stuff like that.
Yeah.
But
well, then that all funnels back to your, like your pricing, right? To be able to do that. But they actually flip my mindset on marketing budgets too, because if you want to price yourself to the business you want to become, so let's say you did $1 million last year. We'll make our math easy. And what a lot of people say is, okay, well, you did $1 million. Well, now you can budget off of what you did last year to be able to spend 10% of your marketing. I've got 100,000 towards my marketing for the next year. But if you want to grow to $2 million, is that 10% of 1 million going to get you there? Or do you need to spend 10% of 2 million to be the company that you want to become?
That's a good question.
Yeah. And so
True.
and so when you look at that, is saying, okay, well, where do you want to become? Now, I get that part of it is you're going to be spending more on a percentage of where you're currently at, but it's going to get you to where you need to go to be that organization. So, I mean, like, I guess for you guys, I mean, I know we're kind of like the guests on your show, but I want to ask you guys the question anyways. I mean, like, what is your philosophy when it comes to planning marketing budgets?
Oh, I just wing it.
grabs one of your 375 hats and pick a out of each.
Right. No, I mean, that's been a question that I've been asked all the time. And so that's a large growth. And a lot of people, like, going from 1 million to 2 million is a pretty hefty jump. And a lot of times people, like, in my mind, they're going to do like 1.3 million or 1.5 million at the most if they're coming off of $1 million. And so then their budget for marketing definitely would include that growth, but I don't know that we all have BHAGs. I mean, we should have BHAGs anyways, big, hairy, audacious goals, but in a realistic budget, like John said here in the comments, the budget should include the growth projection. And so you have to realistically know, like, you have to be able to afford the $2 million, 10% of 2 million versus, and you're only generating 1 million in revenue.
Yeah, just for clarification, that was just a simple example.
Oh, I know. Yeah. Because we all say, like, hey, I want to do 10 million, and you're like, oh, well, you just hit 500,000 last year, so let's tone that one back a little bit. So, and you, I mean, realistically, you could put yourself in a damper thinking that, yeah, I'm going to hire 10 people. I'm going to have X, Y, and Z budget. And you're like, yeah, but where are your marketing leads? I mean, where are all this stuff coming from? And you don't have money to cover overhead if you hire 10 people and you don't have the calls coming in. And so it's a fine juggle there.
Yeah, it all has to match up there. Like when it comes to the budgeting and stuff, you have to know your numbers. Like literally, if you, because it's one of the first questions I ask when I get on a call with someone is like, well, what did you do last year? And the ones I know that the conversation is probably going to go well, they know right away that number, and they know what the number is for the next year. But you get a lot of conversations where it's like, we were like, I don't know, like this to this, like it's April. It's April. Like, how do you not know this number? CRMs literally add this up for you. Like, you don't even have to like try to know this number. And
that's assuming that the data is being put in correctly.
Well,
right?
That's another story.
And that they're looking at it as one of their KPIs.
Yeah. But that just goes to like the whole business ownership. Like, if you're going to be a business owner, you have to learn how to be a business owner if you've never been one, or you've never been in like a leadership role where you're looking at financials and your P&Ls. Because if you don't take 15 minutes a month minimum to look at your P&L and understand what you're looking at, how do you know how do you know that ship is going the right direction? You don't. You're literally blindfolded. You're probably going to run the Titanic right into an iceberg. Right. So it just, or I guess maybe it'd be more of like a little sailboat, but you get the drift there. Like you don't know where you're going. So like some of those first initial hires, like everyone's like leads. I'm like, well, you need to know your pricing. You need to know your numbers. And yes, you need leads, but then you also need to, like, every single call that comes in, treat that as that, if that's the last call you are ever going to run.
Yeah, love the one you will.
Follow up with that call until they tell you no.
It's wild how well you do follow-ups when you don't have leads coming in versus the summer when you just start ghosting people. It's like, oh, never mind. I have 12 other calls coming in right now, so like I'm not going to do your estimate.
Tersh, I don't think this is something I've ever asked you. So, question for you, and I know what we did.
Great, let's do it
on
live.
Our side, on the HVAC side.
Best way to do it.
So, hopefully, none of your customers listen.
Hang on. Should we get the bus ready?
So with that being said, summer we know gets busy, right? What is your opinion or thought process on changing pricing from
changing pricing?
As far as like, hey, it's May and June, it's going to be 95 and sticky as hell in Savannah.
Yeah, so we like our consultation fee will adjust that, and also
so that the entry level barrier goes up.
Sure, yeah, and also our willingness to waive it goes down. So like when we're slow, my rule is if they mention the consultation fee twice, waive it, because I need to get in the door. So now during the summertime, you can mention it till you're blue in the face. Like I ain't waiving the consult. Like you have to have some skin in the game during the summer. During the winter, we're trying to get guys, keep the guys busy. Now pricing itself, the only time that I would adjust it is if my costs go up.
Right.
So I try to stay pretty even kilter, and so this is a risk management part of it. Like if I ever get sued, because I have friends who have been sued because they were accused of price gouging, and I cannot prove the reason that I cost the way I cost or the way I set up my price book, then there's a high probability that I'm going to have to pay out on that lawsuit. Now, if I increase just because of supply and demand, like sure, people do that all the time. Supply and demand, like the demand went up. So the price of everything is going up. If I ever get sued for, and I did that, I would have a different argument to like it just playing a little easier. And I'm not saying that I'm doing it right, but I don't adjust it. I'm probably doing it wrong, but that's just the way that I do it. And because
I'm
more
always
of a
curious to people's
risk
answers.
manager on that, because I sometimes you have to take a risk, and I get that 100%, but just seeing how quickly this one guy got sued, and I was like, oh my gosh. And it was over frivolous stuff. And I was like, sure, anybody can sue over anything. But if I have it locked down that I know these are my prices, these are my margins, these are good margins to have, let's just stay here and let's get this done. And John's not registered for some reason, so he's not showing up in our chat log as a person.
Get with it, John.
There's a little link in the bottom of the description on the video that you're watching. You just have to click that link.
Yeah. So John Winman, he mentioned that if your budget's built right, you don't need to make the adjustment.
That's true.
And
but how many people actually have a budget that is built the right way, knowing all their pricing?
Okay, so legit shout out to John. John's a good buddy of mine, by the way. And if you have issues building your budget, if you have issues creating your price book, reach out to that guy, because
oh man, you're gonna flood his message.
No, he's
gonna
doing it
right now.
He's creating a he's got another business that he helps people out doing that. Yeah.
Awesome,
So
John.
For real, if you have questions, reach out to John, because we did a offsite with him, myself, and a couple other people, and we built out our budgets for the year. And awesome. we knew exactly where we needed to be each day, like down to the day. We know if we made money or we're on budget or not, based on our sold days and sold hours. But either way, neither here nor there. But John is the man when it comes to doing that budgeting stuff.
Yeah, I'm sorry to throw you under the bus, but so we did the same thing with professional. We would raise the barrier entry. The fee with the initial consultation service fee, whatever you want to call it, went up. So people, ideally, if people really wanted us, they would stay on the schedule. If they didn't, or they wanted to find someone else, okay, fine. We can only take so much. We had like a level 2 for like harder repair, like if it was in a furnace in a closet, stuff like that, where if it was more difficult, it was going to take more time. We had a level 2, but we didn't really use the level 2 for like.
So you're telling me that,
like that
something in the closet is more difficult than an attic? Because my guys get a closet job, and they're like, shoo, it's gonna be an easy day today.
We have basements, so everything is literally like I can walk 10 feet this way. It's wide open. You can get all the way 360 around the unit.
Oh, geez. No,
yeah,
a lot of things.
You'd love it. You'd love it here.
I would. I hate it.
Minus the cold.
Yeah.
My guys would love it, but not me. I the first time I have to shovel snow.
Well, you're already remote, so just stay in Savannah.
Yeah, no, screw that snow stuff. I drove through it one time, and I was like, "Yep, nope, this is for the birds."
I drove through it one time.
Yeah, for real. You think I'm kidding?
Well, that was like, I think whatever snow you guys got, either it hit us before or after we had snow. Like last week, we had to cancel our baseball practice outdoors because there's snow on the ground again in April.
Yeah.
Oh, it's 80 degrees here, by the way.
Yeah,
that's just nice. So y'all are aware.
Yeah, I just left 89 in Costa Rica, so
yeah.
That was dumb.
I know. It was my family. They all wanted to come back. I was ready to stay for another 6 months.
Yeah, I bet.
That's awesome. Cool, guys. Well, we are about out of our time limit. What's the best place for people to reach out and get learn more about you guys and follow the podcast? Where's you can repeat all that information that we said earlier?
Yeah, onpurposemedia.ca is the website. So that's .ca because we're Canadian. You can also just search out HVAC Revealed or HVAC Success, Secrets Revealed. Both lead to the same place for the podcast itself. You can follow us on the YouTubes or on the Facebook, wherever. We kind of go everywhere.
And we got our Facebook group too.
Yes.
Facebook.com/groups/HVAC Revealed.
There you go.
I don't even know what ours is. I just copied the link.
Service Business Mastery. That's what it is. Just search it.
Well, I don't know. I see groups/1533.
Don't say that.
Service Business Mastery. No, I'm kidding. I appreciate you guys coming on the show.
It was great hanging with you guys.
Yeah, we had a great time
having us on.
All right, guys. We'll see y'all.
Cheers.
Ciao.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Service Business Mastery. Now that you are equipped with essential business advice from this impactful conversation, you are one step closer to becoming the successful owner of your dreams. If this episode has been helpful to your business journey, don't forget to subscribe to the show, leave a rating, and share it with other owners as well. Visit servicebusinessmastery.com to learn more.